As you go through life, you believe you're taking steps to create your desired future. But in reality, you're recreating your unwanted past instead. And the reason for that is that humans have a powerful ability to recall and reimagine the past. But their ability to imagine the future isn't as strong or well developed. As a result, what happens is you superimpose your past history on your future visions. So you've probably been told to visualize your future, right? To visualize what you want to create. And that's true. That's an awesome way to put the creation process in motion. And imagination is a super powerful creative tool. And it rewires the brain for the outcomes that you're wanting. But more often than not, your brain brings history to your mental movie of the future. And that stymies your efforts to create that desired future. So humans are creatures of memory and reflection. We learn from the past, we use the past to anticipate the future, and we reshape our present even with these recollections of the past. And that's been crucial to our species' survival and progress. But research suggests actually that we have a significant bias towards focusing on the past rather than on the future. And so the human brain is really tuned into past experiences. It perceives them as crucial data points for predicting negative future events, and it wants to avoid those at all costs. Memories of past successes and failures do help us learn and adapt and enable us to make better decisions in similar situations to those of the past. And the past is known and familiar, and that provides us a sense of security and continuity in a world that's always changing. But constantly reliving past experiences makes it difficult to break free from the grip of the past and imagine or create new possibilities in your future. Research in psychology and neuroscience has actually shown that the part of the brain that's responsible for daydreaming and a future orientation or future oriented thinking is actually the less active part of the brain. And it's less active than the part involved in memory and self-referential processing. So the brain actually defaults to familiar thinking patterns and focus on the past, on past experiences, rather than on creative and forward-thinking activities. It's just the way the brain works. And the brain perceives thoughts about the future as a threat, since the future is inherently uncertain and unpredictable, right? And it thinks that the past is going to happen again. And so each time you imagine the future, you kind of assault the brain's need for control and certainty. And the reptilian part of the brain is tasked with keeping you safe. And your visualizations and your imagination about the future cause it to believe you're in danger. So as a result, it takes actions to keep you safe. It reminds you of the past so you don't repeat it. So let's look at how this plays out when you try to imagine a desired future. So, you want to create something different than the past. So you sit down to visualize or imagine that future scenario. It's easier, though, remember, to visualize and imagine the past reoccurring than a different future, even if your past was uncomfortable. Okay, so anyway, let's just say that you want to create wealth in the future, but you've experienced financial lack in the past, right? It's likely that even though you're imagining becoming a millionaire, you also visualize yourself losing the money or not making it at all or living in financial lack again. That's the brain at work. It's causing you to spend less time living in your imagined future and more in your remembered past. Sorry for the helicopter going overhead. So I know that your thoughts are creative, And that's why you've been trying to visualize your future, right? You want to create it. And your visualizations are filled with thoughts about having what you desire. But your memories are creative too, because they consist of thoughts and also of beliefs, which, your beliefs are thoughts you think quite often. And so your memories are filled with thoughts and beliefs. And you are where your attention is. So if your attention is on the past, then you're going to recreate that past in your present and in your future. And if you recall the past with emotion, either fond emotion or distasteful emotion, you recreate it. You bring it to your current and your future experiences. So Stephen Covey, I came across a quote from Stephen Covey, and it's great advice on this topic. He said, "Live out of your imagination, not your history." And while you probably realize that it's easier said than done, it can be done. And so I've come up with 5 tips to help you bypass your brain's efforts to keep you living in your history. So the first one is to imagine consciously. So despite your best efforts, you're going to, you may start out imagining your desired future only to find your brain changing that mind movie to a well-worn one about the past. And to correct that, you have to remain super conscious. Not super conscious, but you have to remain very conscious. You want to allow yourself to get lost in your visualization, but not to the extent that you're unaware when your brain changes the movie. So remaining conscious while visualizing takes some practice. And as you become aware of the shift in your movie to the past, you can bring your focus back to your chosen movie about the future. And if you do that often enough, you train yourself to notice the old movie playing instead of the new one, and you'll more and more quickly switch movies back to the movie that you want, which is about your future. Okay, the second tip is to retrain your brain. So consistently visualizing your imagined future does retrain your brain. It creates new neural pathways. And your focus on the past develops some old neural pathways, and your brain takes you down those roads whenever you focus on something related to it, including a different future. So the more often you imagine your desired future, the less often your brain's going to take you down those historic drives. It's going to begin to feel more comfortable driving the new route. So you really just have to be tenacious and keep visualizing the future over and over again. Number 3 is to keep your visualizations short. To avoid your brain switching out the mental movies of the future with ones from the past, just keep your visualization or creative imagination episodes or sessions short. When you spend a long time imagining your future, it's common for your focus to wander. And only, a lot later do you realize that you spent 30 minutes reliving your history rather than imagining your future. Right, so you're focused on what you didn't want more than what you did want. And, or even thinking about tasks that need to get done or anything like that. So your mind is going to wander. So set an alarm for 5 minutes or less. It can even be 2 minutes, and visualize only for that amount of time. And as you become adept at visualizing only the future for that amount of time, you can begin to extend the time, lengthen the time you spend imagining the future. Number 4 is to script your future. So rather than getting in your head and imagining there with a mental movie, actually write down your description of the future. This is a really great way to still focus on your future and imagine it without getting the history, your brain hooked into giving you history instead. So the brain just was less likely to derail you when you're fully awake and conscious and writing. So you can handwrite or you can type out your future vision. And you can do this as often as you would if you were if you're using creative visualization. You can write a script for your future, 1 time a day, 2 times a day, 3 times a day, or write it once and then read it 2 or 3 times during the day. And the last tip is to use a vision board. This uses your active imagination while looking at images of your desired future. So you need to create a vision board. Most of you probably know what that is, but just purchase a large piece of poster board, cut out images from magazines, or print them off the internet that look like your desired future and paste them on the board, kind of like a collage. and then put the board somewhere where you see it often or where you can gaze at it like from a chair a couple times a day. So this provides you with a visual representation of your desired future. You can even do this in Pinterest if you like. Anyway, you look at the images and you think and feel what it's going to be like to have that future now. You let your imagination go there, but you have these images. And sometimes that makes it easier to keep the brain from showing you your history. So the more often you stay in your imagination, the more quickly you're going to create the future that you envision. And if you allow your history to take over your vision, you're going to create that instead. Just all there is to it. So the tips that I just offered you will help you work with your brain so you can entertain all the possibilities available for your future. I hope you found this video useful. I'm Nina Amir, the Inspiration to Creation Coach. I am a certified high performance coach and an intuitive transformational coach. I love helping people get from where they are to where they want to go by stepping into being the type of person who can actually take the actions necessary to create what they want. I'm a firm believer that we're all creators, and I want to help you create what matters most to you. So if that's of interest to you, you can click on the link above. You can work with me one-on-one as either your high performance coach or your intuitive transformational coach. You can get on the wait list for the Inspired Creator community unless it's open when you're watching this video. As I'm shooting this, it is not open. But all three of those options are available with the link above. And if you're not sure what option is best for you and you want to see whether or not we're a good fit to work together, I'll put another link up above for a 15-minute free strategy session with me, and we'll find a time and get on the phone or get on Zoom and have a little chat. Okay? So that is it for today. Again, I hope you found this video useful. And until I talk to you next time, as always, go out there and achieve more inspired results.